Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Desert Dark Crusade Season 2. This scene begins with three Knights, all beginning their respective evenings. One is the Ventru Asher. A lovely old gentleman who, after rising for the night, goes out to have a bite to eat. Organize his business and get along with doing his duties for the clan. For the good venture Asher, this night is the same as any other. Somewhat quiet, but no less slow-paced.
The way he likes his nights.
Quiet, calm, peaceful.
Exactly.
Everything is as it should be.
He's probably going for one of his appointments, probably near the noble's quarters or reaching the merchant district. One of appointment with somebody who wants his meat cut, something like that.
It is only after he returns to either his haven or another place of business that he owns, that his peaceful night would be interrupted, not by a person, but by a letter. An invitation from the Lady Eirene to be with her for some given purpose.
He will answer the letter, obviously, dutiful as he is as a Ventru. He will actually not stop to do anything and just immediately go. Still holding the equipment of his previous endeavor, but yeah, he's ready to go. He will go where he has met her before. I think that's the most logical thing. Because he doesn't know where her haven is, unless it's specifically stated.
Would Irene mention it?
Irene would have given instructions to meet at a place where she normally meets other Knights.
Exactly.
Excellent.
So you'll go there.
And as Asher departs, we shall briefly switch over to Madeleine, as Madeleine's evening, the start of her night, is a little bit different from Asher's. It starts off much the same. Maybe a little bit busier, given where she resides. A bit noisier. A bit more haphazard, given who she associates with. A bit more chaotic, but it is how Madeleine enjoys it. Never a predictable moment in the life of the good Sister Madeleine. Unfortunately, the chaos of her night seems to take on a life of its own as she steps out of her haven and embraces the night air. She notices the sky begin to turn a bloody red. And a strange, almost crushing weight begins to bear down on her, almost as the sky begins to lower, like like a trapped ceiling or a shrinking cage.
How long does this... Well,
About a
long?
full minute as the sky very, very slowly begins to almost lower itself. The clouds begin to turn black and gnarl like crooked tree branches. And then you blink, and it is almost as if nothing has happened at all. The weight upon your body is released. The clouds are as they were. The sky is a simple dark blue.
Madeline will quickly go to her haven. And she's going to get an item she has in a necklace. She's going to wear it. And she is going to head for the Lady Irene's house.
The one thing Madeleine would have noticed in this strange otherworldly view would be that Riverside remained as it was. Its clouds were not twisted. Its sky was not bloodied or reddened in any way. But only Riverside. Only the sky above Riverside. And then we have Eirene. Irene's evenings are, well, it's Irene's evenings. They are rarely pleasant or predictable. Such is the life of this particular La Sombra neonate. It's as it should be, but she certainly doesn't enjoy it. I think that's safe to say. That said, my evening does initially begin like any other. She dresses herself and goes out to hunt. After maybe having the luxury of washing herself first. Being a lady of noble bearing and having many servants to tend to her.
Yay.
But unfortunately, that is where the yays end. As Eirene, too, as she takes in the night, as she leaves her haven, sees various parts of the sky begin to bloody themselves, and this reddening begins to reach out across the sky.
Oh boy.
Sparing no part of the horizon but Riverside. And, like Madeleine, Eirene too feels this great weight upon her until, again, it passes. But, unlike her esteemed colleague, Eirene does notice something, perhaps due to the fact that she's slightly more accustomed to strange moments like this. She notices that the sky did not gradually redden. It did not simply become a tinted red. It is more as if it was... It is almost as if it appeared from certain places within the sky and reached out. Almost as if it were... Almost as if it were flooding across the sky, or as if someone were painting it, as if it were a canvas. Like that. It reached out.
Painting
And
is
Eirene is able to locate and remember where these origin points of this redness and the dense, crushing, very painful sensation with it came from. From those 4 places within the sky. And perhaps more importantly to Irene, or additionally, as Irene perhaps would know why this is better than most other canines, Riverside seemed to be spared of said damning bloodiness.
Yay.
And as such, she hurries to write a letter to her new friend among Clan Ventrue. And perhaps to Madeline as well. As
Yeah,
both of
sure.
them as all 3 Kenites shall at some point or another converge upon the same location that has been arranged.
Well, Madeline is not planned on coming here, but, well, things escalated rather quickly, so I'm assuming that the 2 of them are already together.
That's gonna depend on Jesse.
Asher would arrive at the location somewhat before time, since he didn't do anything else, but just quickly got there.
Right. Well, the 2 of them are probably chatting, and they will at one point hear hurried knocks on the door. It sounds like someone fairly big knocking.
I mean, by the way, with the time waiting for the 2 of them to arrive, she would have put on her armor, and So she'll stand up quickly, will frown slightly, and then goes to open the door. She doesn't open it fully immediately, but when she sees Madeline, she will.
Ah, good you are home. Very fortunate.
Lady Madeline.
Did you see something out of the ordinary not too long ago?
The sky turned red.
Exactly.
I
Did
think
you have any other sightings?
I've mentioned to you before, and she'll look a little apologetic to Asher as to say, I'm sorry I didn't ever mention this to you. I've mentioned this before, that I've had a vision a while back about pillars of fire reaching into the sky, announcing what felt like an end game. I think this is what I saw back then. I think it's aimed for the palace. So Asher, this is why I asked you to come. You are a Ventrue and are most likely to, well, convince the prince of what we saw. I hoped you could be a witness in this case.
I happily witness whatever needs to be done in order to make sure our prince is safe, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Should you, yeah, okay. And he starts trying to find pen and paper.
It is probably a threat of infernalism. 2 nights ago, Sir Memnon and myself, we went to Riverside and we localized a shrine of sorts. And if I interpret this site right, then that shrine won't be an issue anymore, although something did come out of it.
But I'm assuming that you saw the skies of a riverside were normal.
Exactly. This is why I assume that there is no immediate threat anymore, but like I said, there was still something that was there. So I wouldn't immediately declare Riverside to be safe, but perhaps safer than the rest of the city right now, which is quite unique, come to think of it, for
Indeed.
that area.
But do you have a suspicion of where this might be? These other places, the other shrines responsible for the night sky turning.
Good question. Good question.
I didn't have one when I saw this thing in Riverside. I do know that in Riverside it was a pagan shrine. But I don't know if you noticed this too in the vision, Madeline. There were 4 more areas. Well, there were 4 areas that this redness seemed to come from. Did you see that?
No, it did not.
Oh. I think they came from Justinopolis Mounds. The Arab slums. She actually has a map on the desk. Because, why not? The South Wall slums. And somewhere here at either Christian Quarter or Hyatt's Bazaar, like somewhere on that border.
Interesting. That it's on a border. I mean,
It's, I don't know if if it's exactly on the border, but I couldn't really determine whether it was on the one side or the other side. After all, it was just a flash of a
So-
vision.
personally, we may assume that these points are connected, right? Just for
I
the sake of
presume so,
argument.
yeah.
Right. So I think it would be strong for us to go from Riverside, where it's relatively safe, towards Justinopolis, because those areas are connected. Maybe get a stronger, more safer area in case people need to be evacuated.
Mm.
Well, it would make one side of the river free.
Yes,
Oh, that's two.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea. Also, if my feeling is right, and this is an attack aimed at the palace again, Justinopolis Mount is closest to the palace. So it might not be a
So the three
bad
of
idea to
us
start
are
there.
the three of us are forming to go to investigate.
Well, I would not command either of you, but I will go there.
I think it's the love for our city and for our prince that commands us to make sure that this city is safe, no?
That and the severity of the sighting or the vision that I saw makes it, well, imperative that we move fast.
Wonderful. What do you think we need? Or are you ready to go right now?
I am well enough. Would
Eirene
you
will.
require anything?
I don't know. I've never investigated anything of this magnitude.
I think you can expect. Well, you should be prepared for all things and anything. As Eirene is strapping on her sword.
That is confusing the hell out of me. But since I'm an observer, I'll bring books, paper, my equipment I have on me.
Do you
I
have
do not.
any means of defending yourself?
I have these knives, and he opens up his bag and he takes out 3 very, very sharp cutting knives. But that's about it.
Do you have any armor?
Never have. No, I don't own any armor. I don't even know how to wear it.
Chris, is there a way that I could lend him some armor, either from like, I don't know, the guard of my noble house or like the city watch? Hey, I'm asking.
I just picture you going like up to one of your
Yeah.
noble house's guards and say, "Hey, give this guy your arm." As you just stand on duty, he's like, "Oh,
Oh
what about
no!
me?"
Oh
Must-
no!
Because he's the same size as me. Also, a different question: would I be able to use the armor by just putting it on, or do I need a specific skill to do it?
Well, you don't need a specific skill to use armor, although certain levels of armor confer dexterity penalties.
Right, right.
So if Irene is willing to take the time out and return to her place of residence and basically say, "Hey," or go up to
Mommy needs
maybe
some
one of
armor
her
now.
friends in
Yeah.
a particular sphere and say, "Hey, give me your armor." She could do that. It would probably take around half an hour, and it would probably take like 10 minutes to get the armor on, depending on the level. Like heavy armor, it'll begin. That's when it'll begin taking like a while. Composite armor and and the armors below it probably wouldn't take you more than a minute or two.
Okay. So Irene would think and then be like, I could perhaps find you something that would be fitting, but I would need to seek out a friend. That might take some time. And she'll look at both of them. I'm not sure if we have that time, so it's not a decision that I would want to make. But I would hate for you to come in without any kind of defense apart from a set of knives.
So would I think.
What do you think,
Perhaps you
Madeline?
could be our eyes. Perhaps you could cover us. Perhaps not go directly into the fray, as it were.
But as soon as the fray is upon us, so to speak, and the obscuring is removed, I would still be rather defenseless, ma'am. I'd rather, to be honest, have a little bit of like a shield or something that I can wear and deflect attacks with, in case this is necessary at all.
I'll see what I can do. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Chris,
Asher is
Chris.
very much still hoping that he doesn't need to fight.
Chris, would it be easier for them to go by Madeline's place?
In what way do you mean?
Madeline has some weapons at least, and she does. Well, she has her own armor. She might want that, but I don't know. I mean, you said it took time for them to find armor, but
It would if they wanted to go down that way, down that path, because they'd need to find the appropriate individuals and then speak with them, and then then they need to put the armor on, and then you'd be fine, which would probably take around like half an hour to 45 minutes.
I mean,
Asher, have you fed tonight?
I've nothing to do. I came as quickly. I was just done doing my. Anyway, yes, I've time.
Have you fed?
Fed? No, I don't. I can't.
Oh.
I went through, you see. Certain specifics are necessary.
Madeline, how about you go to your house to put on your armor, and we will find some armor for Asher, and we will meet at the gates of Justinopolis?
Very well.
All right.
And yeah, all right. She she nods and will pretty much head off immediately.
And Irene will ask a servant to bring a letter to wherever the mailbox of the seneschal is. And we'll then take
I feel like
Asher.
it's quaint that you believe the seneschal has a mailbox.
Yeah, I like it. It's so cute.
That was sarcastically spoken. I'm sure there is a place where we can drop off letters for the seneschal.
And we will call it mailbox.
Exactly.
He has drop-offs that are used.
Thank you. She will ask a servant to bring a letter to the nearest drop-off point. like that is any better. And we'll then take Asher to well, either the City Watch or the noble's house to fetch some armor.
Awesome.
Yeah, and while they do that, Madeline will go and she will she will get into her armor, and she'll probably spend a bit more time just covering up and camouflaging her so she doesn't look suspicious. And she is going to bring a weapon, which she's also going to pack into black cloth.
Are any of you trying to conceal these weapons?
Mine are already concealed because they're technically wrapped in and piece bound, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yours are
the
knives,
weapon
so
the weapon
keep
Madeline is having is a dagger. So
Okay, yeah, that's easily concealed.
Daggers for the win, you.
yeah, that's all she's bringing. So
Yeah, daggers are great weapons.
Wow, I feel like I'm overcompensating.
You have a two-handed axe with you?
No, not.
She has a broadsword.
I have a broadsword.
Oh, Jesus.
Cannot be concealed, so.
That's fine. Irene is not very well at concealing much. Even her subterfuge rolls usually suck.
Usually.
Not always.
Why would you have to lie to anyone?
I mean, she's trying not to. But yeah, no. Preferably she'll take Asher to the City Watch, because if he can borrow a City Watch armor, then that can always be used in case of necessity. Like, no, we got everything under control. My fellow City Watch members will be coming soon.
What? You're forcing me to lie? That'll be interesting.
Talk around the truth might be a thing.
Not very likely, but we can try.
You were supposed to be nice. That's sad.
That's what I did.
Nice people lie all the time. Trust me. I'm nice. And yeah, like Irene would definitely try to get either a class 1 or 2 armor, because above that's really a bitch. So yeah, whatever is available, Mr. ST.
Probably be a class 2. I don't think paid guardsmen would be wearing class 1 armor, because that's basically the equivalent of padded clothing. Class 2 is actually relevant.
Okay. And Jesse in the side chat. So the stats for class 2 armor. Same. That I like. Irene is also wearing a class 2 armor.
So what does +2 armor give me? Like damage reduction?
It gives you 2 extra dice of soak that can be applied to ag.
Okay.
As long as the attack is external, obviously it wouldn't help with something like poison.
Right.
And it also gives you a dex penalty of 1, so you lose 1 dice on dexterity actions.
Sure. I figured it out. Thanks. I was merely thanks.
No problem.
And Irene will also promise that if the armor gets damaged, then she will repair it, and we'll make sure it will get back to the City Watch. To Justinopolis Mount!
yeah. At the gates, you will meet Madeline. It's clear that she looks a bit different because you know that she's wearing armor, but she will just nod at you and wait for Eirene to lead the way.
Irene will. I will put a dot, actually, a blood point index to basically disregard the penalty.
Madeline will do the same. So,
You make your way to Justinopolis Mount.
So
Yes.
we are looking for something underground.
I am not sure. The previous item that we found was a picture. I'm not sure if we're looking for a similar object or something completely different. I cannot tell.
Where?
I did remember some of the script that was on it, so I might be able to recognize it from that.
Anyway. Yeah, Madeline will defer to Irene because it's her that's obviously seen clearly. Well, somewhat.
Sort of.
Okay, so yes, Irene.
Yes.
As you enter the district, as all of you enter the district, actually, I should mention this first. There is a fairly heavy guard presence here. The reason being is obviously this district is named after what is now the largest mosque in the entire city. It used to be a cathedral, for anyone new. And then the Sage Lukes took over, and they were like, "Haha, no thanks. This is ours now," and turned it into a giant mosque. Because it is right next to the Nobles' Quarter, and it is a place of religious significance, in addition to the fact that everyone, a lot of people religiously relevant, visits this place. At least at least everybody religiously relevant in the city. There is a very heavy guard presence. There aren't many members of the public on the street, although you do run into how to say very academic professional figures such as scribes and the like. Again, religious men can be seen going to and from the mount. It's literally on top of a hill. So a lot of academic figures, a lot of religious figures, and a lot of city watch guardsmen.
Great.
So we're patrolling in
we have
units
one
of
too.
about 4 to half a dozen each. Again, this area is fairly well locked down. Then there's not really there is nary a suspicious figure in sight.
Okay. Except us. No.
No, that's true. Asher looks fine. The rest of you looks sus. One of you is carrying a big sword.
Semi-big sword, yeah.
Technically illegal, but you're a noble, so nobody
I'm a
cares.
noble, so nobody cares. I counted on this, by the way. I was like, do I need to conceal this? How? Nah, I'm a noble. I can do this.
Screw the rules. I have connections.
I have money. I don't need your rules.
I don't even have money. I have status. There are enough noble families that are like poor as shit, but hey, they have status.
That's true.
So, yeah, Irene will start walking in the direction that she thought she saw the beginning of the red sky in this area. She will not be necessarily sneaking, but she will keep her eye out on anything that might strike her as odd or out of place or reminds her of the things she saw in Riverside.
Yes, the where you roughly saw the origin point again It's fairly rough, but you saw it on the west side of Justinopolis Mount, the center west side. Where I can't really show you this image, but I'll try. You know the line that descends from the gate, the thin line connected to the little red square. You know how it goes to the right, and then there's another line which leads to the palace.
Yeah.
It's between the line that leads to the palace and the left junction of it. That leads towards the noble's quarter.
Okay.
That is roughly where you saw it. It should be noted again for anybody new to this map. These are not the only roads in the city. They're just sort of rough translations. But that is generally where you.
So we don't actually have to go that far.
No, you don't have to go very far at all. In fact, something that sticks out to you is that it is very, very far away from the mount itself, which is all the way on the northeastern side.
Okay.
Northeastern corner is where the mount is. So the mount is actually quite far away from the location that you saw.
Okay.
Or that you're estimating.
So yeah, I mean, well, we'll head towards that area, and once they're like in that general area, she'll just kind of stop the other two, and we'll be like, should be somewhere around here, but I'm not 100% sure of what we're looking at. For.
Well, we should be holding at seemingly. Madeline will just go over and just take Asher under the hand to look as though he is chaperoning her. And Madeline will begin to just chat, or just keep a conversation going. If we keep seeming as you are an old man who has a bitching young bride, people will tend to be less suspicious. We should probably expect to be observed in some way. She's saying this fairly lowly, but it's just walking with Asher at this point.
Asher feeling totally out of place. One, touching a woman. Two, wearing armor. And three, very, very afraid that he must lie in any sort of way or form, is simply nodding. He's nodding, and she can talk whatever he wants. He will simply nod.
And Madeline doesn't seem really bothered by this, but she's just, we'll keep the conversation going. It will be more of a, actually she won't talk small talk. She will actually just come up with observations she makes while they're walking. But it's, instead of having three people looking like they're searching for something, it will be at least two people who will look as though they're just walking.
Sightseeing.
Something like that.
Chris.
Yeah.
Can I make a perception awareness roll to get like any sense of feeling of, getting sort of the same feel as in Riverside or as the Vision?
Are you trying to? What are you trying to do?
Irene is basically like, the way Irene is looking at this is like she's trying to get the sense of the object that she had in Riverside, trying to feel if that imminent threat, that was hanging in the Vision and that was, well, in Riverside as well. See if she can feel that as well, based on, the belief that you can sense sort of fate, like the way she can continuously sense the crucifix that's hanging around her neck. I feel like a mage right now. Sorry. Can I roll Prime?
God damn it, Abba. Get out of here.
I mean, Arthur would have blown up the whole city at this point, so and probably murdered some people.
Aw.
That's shade.
He said
Hey.
some people, not everyone. Don't worry.
Oh, okay,
Just
that is
enough
fine.
to be wanted by the police. There is no danger sense. There is no weird sensations.
Okay.
Um,
I was wondering if that was possible, but if not, okay.
you begin exploring the area that you've kind of roughly began investigating, and you are not necessarily finding all that much. Would everybody like to roll me perception investigation?
Awesome. I'm gonna check if I have some.
And Chris,
Nope.
just have a quick look at Facebook. I have a little small message. Just as a thing. Maybe that does make a difference. I don't know. I know it's not for investigation, but
How
just
do you? Oh, right. R.
I responded to that, which is in a way I really shouldn't have, but
I got 20. Is that okay? Kidding.
let's see. You get the 1 success. Let's see. Sorry, we got 3 successes, and the rest of you got 1. Okay, so
Sorry.
for people with 1 success, as you're investigating the area, which is really just the main road, and then a side road which goes off to the left, and an alley which goes off to the right. Obviously, you don't really find anything on the main road. You don't think they may have come from using the main road, but obviously, if there was anybody here or anything relevant here, it's not on the main road. And you don't think the side road has anything either, at least from what you can see. It's a bit difficult to make sense of what's on the side road, other than the obvious, what few residences there are here. Because a lot of people walk down here, anything noteworthy tends to be camouflaged among ordinary mortal affairs. The alley is a bit more untouched, and you can see a bit of suspicious activity from the alley. You can see that the walls are somewhat damaged, maybe just because it's in an alley and as such they haven't been maintained properly. But other than that, you don't find too much. Eirene, however, because she got
3
successes, notices a little bit more. Within the alley, you take note of the damage on the walls. You take note of how it really hasn't been looked after at all. In fact, you could safely say that that the back wall of the building that you're examining is almost crumbling.
Okay.
In fact, if you press against it, you will see part of the wall just kind of
Concave?
concave a little bit, yeah. Not entirely, but parts of it begin to give way. And when you do, you realize that this part of the wall is not crumbling because it's damaged. In fact, when you look back at the damage on the wall, you realize it's largely superficial. It appears to concave and crumble as it does because this part of the wall these bricks were not cemented together properly. In fact, it doesn't appear as if they've been cemented together at all.
If I may approach, if I can approach, I would like to see if it was possible to, if it was built with the intent of a quick build and then take away and then rebuild again, like a door that needs to look like a wall, but still needs to be entered now and again.
Yeah, if you have, so I'll say this: if you you can roll me perception investigation difficulty 8, or if you have crafts or academics architecture, you can roll me perception academics or crafts architecture difficulty 6.
If only my academics were based on that.
Sad days.
Believe me, rolls for investigation I has none, but I will try nonetheless. Difficulty 8, you say?
Do you actually have the investigation stat?
Nope.
Oh, that's bad. You can't actually make knowledge rolls unless you have at least 1 dot in the stat.
Awesome. Then I have no clue, and I happily continue watching nothing.
What are these bricks? Like, why are they not stuck together like they should be? What is?
They are very.
I will roll a difficulty 8 because I do have
just one side note. I was told that taking a specialization in academics would be useless.
Well,
it matters
Wow.
not anymore.
I got 5 successes on this.
Damn.
I want this roll. It really matters. Can I keep this roll?
The neonate's got this.
We can... Yeah, Irene's on fire today. She's
Oh boy, watch out! No touchy.
Watch out, she might. She can do a lot of things, none of which are really particularly pleasant. We'll probably end up with somebody dying. So Eirene, it's more or less as Asher suspects.
Okay. So she'll say, it seems like someone wants to have a door sort of concealed. Madeline?
Yes?
By the way, Irene has seen Madeline's shadowy or turn
Oh
into
yes,
shadowy.
quite
Yeah.
a few times, madam.
Okay.
At
So
least twice.
she'll ask Madeline if Madeline would be willing to check the other side, because she does that so well.
I could. But would there be any reason for us not to knock the wall down? You are thinking of the element of surprise.
Yes, and since we don't know if there is a congregation of humans behind, or perhaps an infernal creature.
Well, it is the infernal creature I am worried about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would see that problem.
I
I do
mean,
not wish to be
Irene would
alone with
also
such
be
an entity.
worried about a congregation of humans because she wouldn't want to kill a congregation of humans.
Slightly
But very well.
suffocated, okay, but not kill.
Exactly.
But very well. Madeline will step. Well, she will look around. Is there anyone around who can see them?
If there is someone around that could look into the alley, Asher seems it logical for him to block their view of the alley by simply standing there. If they ask him what he's doing there, he will refer to the noble lady that told him to stand there. So
Madeline will find a place where she is not seen, and she will activate Obtenebrous form.
Blame it all on that one, Irene, aren't we?
uh,
And she is going to slip through the cracks in the wall and see what is on the other side.
As you enter the building, at first glance, appears to be a fairly humble residence for what could be a single person, could be up to a small family of 3, 4. There is nobody currently within the house, from what you can see, at least in the room, but you don't hear any noise. You haven't heard any noise at all. So if there is anybody in the house, they're probably sleeping.
Madeline is gonna, well, not walk, but diffuse
Sliver.
on. But she is going to be quiet, and she's going to be she's going to be careful because she doesn't want to wake anyone up or anything like that.
Does she diffuse into physical form?
No, I'm saying she's moving, but
Okay.
she's not walking. She's floating. I don't know.
Yep. You kind of slither through. Through the living room. Are you going? It's a 2-story building, so there's an upstairs area, there's the ground level area, and then there is a basement level area.
She's going to have a look at the basement first.
Okay. The door to the basement's open.
She will have a listen at that.
You want to roll me perception occult real quick?
Sure.
how could this possibly go wrong?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless it is about abyss mysticism. Then it is 7.
Nope. So
5.
with that many successes, you can see the telltale signs of warding on the basement door. Fairly heavy warding, actually. Like, it's not a single ward on the door, it is several.
Well, it is good thing that Madeline has learned a certain trick from a certain Ulfric. Although she doesn't have the materials for it. Shit.
Hey, the bane of every ritual caster.
Yep.
Oh well, what did he use? He used his own blood, right?
I do not have the blood of mortal twins. Ah.
Right. That's the part that she's missing, right? Yeah, I thought so. Shit. Well, she is when she sees that, she's gonna be like the shadowy form is just gonna move away from that, and she is going to look. She's gonna diffuse upward, move, float upward, and just check to see if she can hear anyone or maybe someone snoring or something upstairs.
Nope. The 2 rooms upstairs are locked, and you don't hear anything.
She's going to have a look inside them. I'm assuming they're not completely tight. As in, she can probably slither a little bit through and see if there's anyone in there.
Oh, you can easily slither through into the other rooms.
Yeah. She'll just have a look if there's anything. If there's people sleeping or something. If there isn't, if it isn't like there's something like really like that stands out of the ordinary, she is going to.
The rooms are fairly bare, to be honest. There's a bed.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a bed in both rooms. That's about it. Nice beds, but very bare. Very very empty.
Well, Madeline is going to go back out towards the porous wall that you can do things about, and she is going to
As you do so, you do hear something in the kitchen area.
Oh. Yeah, she's
it's the sound of boiling liquid.
Madeline is still gonna move to the others.
Well, so do you avoid it? Or do you go see what it is?
I don't hear footsteps or anything?
Nope.
Well, okay, she'll have a quick look.
Curious.
Looks like whoever was here has a kind of a stew constantly being cooked. This is actually something that is actually kind of normal in Dark Ages.
Yeah. And today, certain parts.
It does not smell particularly appetizing, but it is edible.
She moves towards the wall to get out to the others.
Everybody sees black shadowy ichor oozing out of the wall, then forming into a rather hideous-looking puddle on the ground.
Yucky.
Has Asher seen Obtenebration in scene yet?
Nope.
Of course not. Make a courage roll.
Courage. My courage is humongously low, I believe.
You are free to spend a willpower on these rolls, though. So.
Of course I'm not going to spend a willpower. I don't know what's going on.
Excellent.
God damn you!
What? Why would I spend a willpower? I don't know that it's necessary in this case.
That's fair. That's fair.
Look again. courage was very low. And yes, there you go.
Okay.
Dude, you're
Pretty
good.
good. I think courage is like normal is 2, so that's actually fairly high. But
Gazing into the shadows do disturb Asher, but he is not thrust into frenzy by them. He holds his nerve.
The shadow seems to go into condense around, or will move towards where Madeline went before, and Irene, you get the clear impression that it's kind of just waiting for you. Well, Madeline is.
Okay.
It's
Then,
just
yeah.
in the alley or something. Madeline is going to speak in this really weird voice. You'll be able to hear it, but she says, "This is definitely the place. The basement is warded by several different wards. And there might be someone home. They might be down there, or, well, they have food cooking. But there was no one on the upstairs and no one on the ground floor."
Would it be very cruel of me to want to do this without having a huge amount of damage done to the environment, just simply to poison the stew with some sleepy poison, so to speak? And that way we could capture the one who's cooking. Maybe we could give some information.
If they come back in a few hours. But that does mean that we will have to sit here and wait for a long time.
Right, all right. Yeah, son, sorry.
And I'm not sure if we have that time.
No, exactly. The sun. It's a bitch.
How familiar is everyone here with wards?
The ichor, the pile of shadow that is Madeline, says, "I know a couple of things."
Where is this conversation taking place?
In the alleyway in a concealed corner?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That was stated before we actually went into this conversation.
Yep.
Yeah.
He said that he was going to go to the place to take his reform back into a talking form, so to speak, where he first changed, where nobody was looking the first time.
Okay. Yeah, just double checking. Keeping you honest.
Always watching. I think that's what you're looking for, Chris. So,
You are not prepared.
Madeline will just say, "This is the place, but we do not want people to see this, especially not the basement. Would there be another way into the basement, perhaps? To circumvent the wards?"
Would there also not be wards if one area or one entrance is warded?
So, a slight technical question, maybe. How would you protect to pass those wards? Would you Would you like simply run through them if you're okay by the wards, or would you need to deactivate the wards before you go through them? If you were the one placing the wards, whatever.
If you were the one warding,
right,
would
well,
pass through it effortlessly.
Right. Well, what I'm thinking about right now is if I have a heavily defending warded door, then that's definitely for the outsiders to find, and it would allow me if somebody wants to go in. However, if there was something so overpowering coming in or coming past my wards, I might want to have an escape door, so to speak. Less wards, more quickly exit, if you know what I mean.
That is, if someone expects to be in a position where someone would overcome such formidable defenses.
Was it that strong? I have no idea how to measure that.
I do not know for certain either. But it is possible that you do not anticipate to have to have an emergency exit.
Right. Well, then he's trapped, and we don't really have to worry. I mean, if the person in there is trapped, if there is definitely a person, then we don't have to worry about it because he's not going anywhere. He's going to stay down there. And we can get all the equipment we need, maybe even people we need, in order to prepare this area to take down the wards and have a better look what's inside. Therefore, there's no time pressure.
Madeline just smiles as she looks to Eirene.
If there's someone down there, they might as well be performing a ritual that we need to stop.
Right.
I do not know.
Right.
The only thing that I know is that at some point, this is the place where something terrible will happen. And considering the fact that we saw at least a foresign of it, that might well be tonight. I do not believe we have time. Of course, I can't be certain. For all I know, we have a week, or 2, a month, half a year. But
yeah, you simply don't. I get it.
We don't know. We could be facing a threat in a minute or in a year. The interesting thing, though, is if there's a stew boiling, but there are wards on the door.
And somebody needs to come up in order to get the stew.
Who's inside?
Mortals, which means that we cannot wait for them.
The stew maker,
Mortals
I suppose.
with magic?
It had been there for some time. But we could... Perhaps we could make this door... Well, get all 3 of us in, get into hiding, and, as Asher suggested, add a bit of punch to the mix.
Well, you remember when we investigated the warehouse, Madeline?
Yes.
I might be able to use that same trick again to bring down the wards, but I'm afraid that that is not a subtle method.
Could we make a hole in the wall next to the door so you could slither in? I assume just the door is warded, not the wall. Since you could get through this wall, I assume there could be made a hole where you could get into.
Make it through. Yes, we would be able to. As far as I could see, it was the entrance to the crawl space down to the basement that was warded. This is the entrance that is warded, but if we couldn't make one, Madeline just stops. What was the floor like in there?
If only I had any idea of historical accuracy.
Okay, long story short, Madeline is thinking, would she be able to use Earth Meld to get
No, that's not
the
how
ground
it works.
and then out on the other side?
No, that's not how Earth Mod works.
Fair enough. Just asking. If we can make a hole, but I do believe we should.
It would make noises, of course, but since we're already talking about noisy ways things are done,
I do believe we should try Irene's method first, and then we should try to beat down the ward.
Sure.
It should be noted the door to the basement was open.
Right.
So the door was warded, but the door itself was open.
Oh, it wasn't the entrance?
No, the door was the entrance to the basement floor.
Oh, okay.
Ah, okay, because I thought it was like just going in for the hole would be the problem, but in that case, Madeline would argue that they should break down the wall to get all
Mhm.
three in and then get down there as soon as possible.
Yes.
And yeah, Madeline is gonna disassemble the wall fairly quickly. As it's not she's not gonna make noise, but she is gonna move stones, and she's gonna be able to do this with her potence.
So if I am to understand correctly, what you want to do is you want to break down the wall to the side of the basement door.
I think we're now just
Talking
disassembling.
about the outside wall.
The
Yeah.
outside wall, so we can come into the building.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I was
Because
just
I'm-
trying to figure out because I'm having trouble keeping track of what doors.
Oh
you
yeah,
want to
but
break
it's
down.
just so the two of them that don't have blobby form can get into the building. So
that way we could actually inspect more.
Yeah.
Although without investigation, it's about as useless as
But
anything.
it should be said as Madeline moves like some stones, and the two others get in. Madeline will get in as well, but she will, as best she's able, close the wall so it doesn't look suspicious from the outside. She's going to move the rocks into place again.
So we're all inside now, Chris. And
Yeah.
the wall's back together.
The gang is back together.
I said the wall, but if you want to know, say the gang, that's fine as well.
Madeline will indicate where the stew is and show the entrance.
Well, I guess we're going down.
Quite so.
So just to get everything clear, the wards were on the door, but the door was open. So technically that means we can just walk inside. This does not feel like a giant trap.
No,
Well,
not at all.
that's why I was going to suggest, actually literally going to suggest, that we might want to place something between the one part of the door that closes and the other part where it needs to close against, so it can't completely close.
Well,
That
I would
way-
first like to have a confirmation from Chris if I'm actually saying the right thing.
Oh, right. Sorry. Chris.
What are you saying?
Ah, jeez. So, to get this straight, the wards were on the door, but the
Yes.
door was open, so technically we can walk in. Or was the ward on the
Yes.
doorpost?
You've always been able to walk through the door
Okay,
because the door is open. And
okay,
the wards are on the door. So there
check.
are no wards in the empty space between the entrance
Thanks.
and you. So yeah, you're good.
Then yeah, maybe we can just leave one stone out of the door in like that leads to the alleyway, so that we can use it to
Block
make sure
the
that. Yeah,
door. Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. And Madeline will also have to look. Is there any way to maybe widen the space? No. You know what? Fuck it. They're gonna go down, and yeah, Madeline is gonna sneak down. Try to.
Yeah, I think Irene is also gonna try and be as stealthy as she can.
Then I will not go down until I hear it's ready to come down, because I have no dice in sneak, because I'm not a sneaky man.
I don't have any dice in sneak either.
Very honest man. Example for us all.
I mean, this is my stealth roll.
Yeah, I don't do stealth. Stealth is for people who try to be sneaky and stuff.
I have one success.
Irene and Madeleine may roll stealth.
I have one success. But Irene will stay a few paces behind Madeline because she knows that Madeline is fucking sneaky in her shadowy form, and Irene is not.
Yeah. Well, two successes.
Okay. You sneak down into the main into the basement. It is very large, and there is very little down here. What you do see are about 4 or 5 sacks that are just off to the side. And what appears to be a rather, to put it into context for Madeline, you see a massive silver brazier lined with various inscriptions. Still smoking with the smell of ash and cinder from inside it.
Okay.
What was the? You said you put like a rock between the door or something?
Yeah, so that the door wouldn't fall shut.
Okay, yeah, I'm just double checking because.
Also, Asher's upstairs, and he's currently between the doorpost and the closing door in case it magically closes.
I was just wondering if like what was specifically was being used to keep the door open, because I know you guys were trying to keep the door open.
Also, be right back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's a brick and temporarily an Asher keeping the door open.
Oh, Asher doesn't want to touch that door.
No.
This is bad.
And yeah, Irene will point out to Madeline, like.
Yeah, a ritual has taken place here, but not very long ago.
Chris, jot my memory, please. The previous brazier, wasn't that one also smoking?
No, it just had cinder inside it.
Fuck.
But you may roll me wits occult difficulty. Difficulty 8, because there's not really much information to run off of.
I got none.
Wow. One.
So Madeleine, you know it's been used. You're not sure if it's in a ritualistic sense or not. Eirene, you're not entirely sure either. It could be preparations. It could be that a ritual has already taken place.
Okay. Upon inspection, because
there is nothing upon the brazier other than the fact that it is smoking that seems to indicate anything has happened. More than likely, it could be a purely ceremonial preparation for a larger rite. That's your best guess. Either that, or it's simply mundane, like it's been used. It's been used for a ceremonial purpose. That might be a preparation. It might not be, but doesn't have an effect in its own right. So it's either mundane or it will have a supernatural effect later down the line upon something greater in scope.
Yeah. So if Irene is because she's gonna, if Irene is gonna inspect the you said there was writing on the brazier.
Yeah, that's one of the things which kind of tips you off to the fact that there's probably not a major ritual has been practiced on this thing, because the brazier is not reacting in any way that is suspicious. The inscriptions don't appear to have any sort of reaction to what's going on.
Okay. Is it the same type of writing that was on the other one?
Yes.
Is it the same text?
You got 2 successes, if I recall, on your intelligence check from before in the last scene.
Yeah, could be.
You see familiar. What would appear to be. You see familiar symbols.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Irene will pass along her findings to Madeline. And she'll then add that last time she saw the or that she saw the brazier in Riverside, she fought it with God's faith. Say it like that. Sounds better than trick.
I'm sure that doesn't concern Madeline in any way.
It does not, but
Like the mass of shadow just seems to either condescend you or just be not very impressed.
that
generally.
is fine. That is fine.
Chris.
Yep.
Since they're not talking back, and since I don't hear any fighting noise of innate murder happening, I'm coming down.
Oh yeah. Feel free. Asher. Everybody sees Asher now walking down the steps into the basement area, and you see the same thing that these guys see.
Right. I'm going to
Your theology stat tells you. Actually, you know what? You can actually. Everybody can roll me half wisdom.
Oh, right. I do have some of that. Hard wisdom. And what else? Intelligence, hard wisdom?
Intelligence half wisdom upon seeing this massive brazier.
All right. Do I take along the upgrade I asked or not?
Oh, pardon?
All right, 5 successes.
I asked for an upgrade of my intelligence, which would make it either 5 or 6 dice.
I got 4 successes. Jesus fuck.
I cannot beat this. Never mind. There you go. I got 0 successes because fuck my life. My biggest dice pool today.
Not for this scene. I'll go over that in a bit.
Sure.
After the scene. Oof. Yeah, sad rolls today.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, he's bad, man.
Fucking 5 dice and I get 0.
And then Irene's just up there going, "Hey, look at all my dice! Yay!"
Hey.
Why am I here? You're just here.
That's just
Hey,
like,
I
why am
told
I
you
here?
you were here as a witness.
Irene's doing all the thing. Madelaine's like, finally, get on my level. So both Irene and Madeleine, after some proper inspection, something I do note, something I do need to note is, do you touch the brazier?
I was gonna, but
I mean, I don't think Irene will really let anyone touch it yet, because last time shit happened. I'm not sure how that will go down this time.
I was gonna touch it in order to look at the scribings, the inscriptions on it, maybe copy it,
Okay.
to understand it for later use or later practice. To understand a bit of occult, since I have nothing whatsoever in that subject. The one thing I find interesting: 0 rolls. Awesome.
Oh.
It's fine.
I mean, Irene would advise from touching for now, but she will not stop anyone who does so. I mean, she knows the flaws of curiosity, because the player understands.
So, for Irene, As you got 4 successes.
Yes.
As you look upon these inscriptions and you think upon the purpose of you try and call on your collective knowledge on why brazier, what is its purpose, what connection could it possibly have to anyone in the city, why and how. And you do remember something, gossips that have passed through the noble courts, pieces of literature and books that you have read. You have heard of tribal peoples that have existed in the Middle East for a very long time, who have a history of worshipping fire as a metaphor, as a representation or an avatar of their deity, and that as such, braziers are often used to stoke these fires, used in various ceremonies and to show respect. With your 4 successes, you have even heard of their chief prophet, known as Zoroaster, of the Zoroastrian faith.
Mm-hmm.
As for the inscriptions, you're not entirely sure. This seems a rather strange twist of what little you know of Zoroastrian tradition. And you don't know much. You don't have a theology stat for it.
If only I could help you with that.
If only. Sad days for one and all. Clearly, this is a rather strange twist on the faith, particularly just because it seems so massive in scale. Like it's literally a brazier which could serve as a cauldron to put people in. Like it's that big. You could stick a few people in here and you'd be fine. Still wouldn't be full.
Okay.
The inscriptions, again, you're not sure of the inscriptions. It's in a language you do not know and do not understand.
Mm-hmm.
You do see the familiar symbols, so you think the language is at least consistent with what you've seen before, so it might relate to the faith in some way. Madeline, you got 5 successes, so you actually know the name of this language, although you do not understand it. It is a language specific to Zoroastrian faith known as Avestan.
Right. Chris?
Mm-hmm.
There was sacks in the corner by your description?
Yeah, there were some kind of bags or sacks.
Yeah, sacks in the corner. Since I can't touch any of the thingy, I'm going to inspect the sacks or whatever, bags.
You look at the you kind of begin inspecting the sacks. I assume you go to look what's inside of them.
Yep.
Most of it most of what's in the sacks are appear to be various, I lack a word for them, symbols, talismans, tools,
Items for rituals?
yeah, basically, yeah, from what you can tell, appear to be ritual components.
Right. Interesting.
A lot of them, and a lot of them are the same. So again, scale.
Right. If I can, I would like to take some of those with me in order to inspect further. Maybe get a
Yeah.
good estimate.
Yep,
I mean, if they, for instance, have 7 cups in there, then this cult group is maybe most likely 7 people, and so on and so forth. To make simple deduction and learn a bit about a cult, for as far as I can.
yeah.
Cool.
You could definitely take those and examine them for later.
Awesome.
The shadow thing will just come over to Irene. Very lowly, you will hear a hum, or something that is probably Madeline talk.
Mm-hmm.
She will just say, "Will you try to neutralize this one as well?"
Well, I was thinking about it. Um, if I do, last time I set the area on fire that it was in.
Yep.
I am thinking actually. If we can find some water, perhaps I can use this crucifix as a conduit to bless said water, and we might extinguish this one as it is smoking, and water tends to, stop a fire. If that fails, I can always attempt and, well, pray with the crucifix and see what will happen.
Let's use the logical one first.
All right. I presume the logical place to find water in this house would be the kitchen. So I will look, and Irene will head off to the kitchen and see if there's water there, or anywhere else on the main floor.
I start moving the sacks with ritualistic materials. One stair thing up.
As you look to go up the stairs, you just see this looking down on you from the entrance,
Oh, for fuck's sake!
and the door shuts of its own accord.
All the walls.
Oh no! That thing came from Riverside.
The shadows, the light from the sort of gap at the bottom of the door begins to dim, and shadows begin to extend from the bottom of the door.
Okay, Irene will start praying, trying to break the wards with the crucifix and faith of God combined. By the powers of God, please. I know everything that's holy, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to do because I don't know any of it.
By the power of God. Fuck off.
Yeah, that.
No, I can imagine someone with true faith actually saying that.
Those prayers go like help, 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 help.
Yo, God, there's
Dude.
something shit down here. Could you please?
Madeline will just say the brazier, and
If this place is set on fire with the door closed and wards up, we have a serious problem.
Yes.
the
Door
lights
first.
the lights are clean.
The lights
Fire
are?
will not burn down here. Not long.
If you
Luckily,
say so. And
we will not need to breathe either.
Irene will go and change direction towards the brazier and will start praying.
Madeline will just say, "Wait."
Hammer time.
Also that. Madeline
Why is that?
will just say, I will. Perhaps I should first attempt something else. And I will use the arms of Amaran.
Mm-hmm.
That is coat. I have
I mean, what
3 new
are you gonna
friends.
do? Because Irene can use them as well.
Yeah. But what Madeline's going to do is going to have these arms begin to pound at the door.
Okay.
I'm going to do a soft prayer to Jehovah, holding my very holy symbol in my hands and hoping this is the first and only attempt I try to investigate.
That is a good prayer. Intimate
Oh, I'm
and
sorry,
quite
my friend.
specific, but pretty
I feel
good.
bad for Asher right now. I feel really bad
I
for him. But
feel bad for Asher as well.
as you summon arms of Ahriman and they begin to bash upon the door, they're going to take a little bit to break through. But perhaps more importantly is as the shadow it's kind of creeping up the stairway down, and it's traversing very slowly.
Help, 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 help.
But as it does so, from the shadow begins to I didn't word that properly. From the shadow, fire begins to emerge from it.
I hate the shadowy bitch.
I smell a rot shrek. Am I right?
Irene,
Yes.
you have been praying towards the brazier, yes?
Yes.
With the power of your crucifix,
And all the lofty words that I can summon that describe God and all his angels.
and Asher's soft and ever faithful prayer towards
Jehovah.
Jehovah,
Look at us being
the
shiny Christian.
brazier begins to burn.
I'm not a Christian.
Well, yeah, I was stopping.
He specifically said Jehovah.
Yeah, no. Saskia said, look at us being good Christians. I was like, nope, I'm not.
No,
Nope,
I
nope.
stopped at Chris.
Also begins to erupt into
Yeah, I
flame,
figured as much.
and it begins to spread around the room.
Great.
Fires that are being edged on by these creeping shadows.
Right. I'll continue praying.
So, are the fires of the shadow creature increased by the brazier, or are they going towards the shadow creature and are they going to hurt it?
There's still a fair bit away yet.
Okay. Jesus, I don't know.
But the room is now slowly, rather quickly being engulfed in fire.
You know, fuck it. I'm going to smack that shadow creature with the bloody crucifix.
The shadow creature's on the other side of the door.
Fuck.
Yes.
Get the door open.
He kind of was prepared for that stuff.
I figured.
I'm actually gonna roll. How many friends did you have?
3.
3. I'm gonna roll that dice. Okay. Okay, that one doesn't really make any headway. Lol. Okay, so they're bashing down a door and they're doing some serious damage to it, but they haven't been able to break it down. In part because it's really just the doorway is really just the size of it's sort of a one-person hallway, if you understand what I mean. So there's not much room for the tendrils to maneuver and actually hit it with much force. They have done some serious damage to it. They're getting fairly close to breaking through.
Okay. Shall I add some tentacles?
You can.
I mean,
Since
it's literally asking
there isn't already a lot of movement, adding more tentacles wouldn't increase the damage.
Yes, true. And the problem is that Madeleine's arms are taking significant damage from the fires that are now engulfing them.
So I suggest finding a way to protect us against the current shadows coming towards us, and bless Madeline that she gets the door down in time before we all get enveloped.
I'm not gonna bless Madeline. That will not end well.
I'm seeing it Tessa, and then a nuclear explosion, just like.
Yeah.
Okay, poor choice of words, maybe.
It's like, no.
Bless you, my lady. Great balls of fire. Nah, kidding.
But yes.
I do have some faith.
I'm just the fires are coming from the room, right? Or where are they coming?
The fires are coming from the shadows of the shadow creature, as far as I believe, and now also from the brazier.
Yep.
The brazier is quickly being reduced to ash and cinder, as it is burning brightly with holy flame, that is spreading across the floor and the walls.
How much damage did the doors take by now? Because I'm just willing to potence 4 my way through
And
them.
they've taken 4 bashing damage.
And they look like they're about to fall down.
Yes.
You know what? No pain, no gain. Fuck it.
Uh-oh.
Jesse knows how
I
his wife gets.
like hearing those.
It's like,
What I know is that she is trying to get this scene finished within 25 minutes, meaning she's willing to go ham on something small.
Now preferably.
Madeline is going to revert to her normal form. She's still going to use the things, but if there's fire, she does not want to be in shadow form. So
No.
No.
So she is now referred back to her normal form.
Okay. I'm just going to attempt to potence 4 my way through the door.
Okay. Please roll me your fortitude plus your armor to soak 3 levels of aggravated damage per turn you are in the fire.
Okay, here goes nothing.
With difficulty. One sec. Oh, that's not it. Difficulty 9 to soak.
Jesus. Oh boy.
You must also roll me a rush check once you are done here.
I got 1 success.
You got 2 successes. Ones don't take away from soak rolls.
Oh, 2 successes.
You take 1 aggravated damage.
Yes.
And now roll me.
Oh my god, I'm good. Unless it's diff 10.
Yeah, because that was going to be difficulty 9 because you're effectively in the middle of a house fire.
I'm good. I'm good.
So you do not flee back towards the holy fire. And now please roll me your strength brawl check against that door.
Okay, I will spend the blood for potence. So that'll just be my strength, and then plus 4. Oh, strength brawl, right? Wait, I do have brawl.
Strength brawl.
Strength and brawl. Okay. Yeah. No, that's not type anymore. Well, I luckily I spent blood for potence. Else it would have been really.
You have enough potence. Just literally, everybody sees Eirene just run through the door.
Boom!
She just runs through the door. The door just shatters as she collides with it.
It's like the door was never really there.
Basically,
yeah.
The door was never relevant.
You think this was a door? It was just a figment of your imagination.
Potence forces
the door was walled. So, can you now take me another 3 levels of aggravated damage?
Oh boy.
You may use your fortitude to soak this, but not your armor.
Yeah. Oh, okay, only my fortitude. Check. Boy. Nope, I botch. Fuck.
You can't
You don't
botch.
because ones you can't botch a soak roll. So yeah, everybody sees Eirene as she collides with the door. The door shatters. But as it does so,
Does Irene get blasted back into the fire, or does she run through the door?
she runs straight through the door. But as she does so, you can see her face, her arms get burned in the process pretty badly. And also, as you run out the door, Eirene, all of you are witness to the fact that now the entire building is on fire.
Oh, fuck.
It's not like there's a river nearby.
We're not on Riverside.
I
Exactly.
presume Eirene just runs straight out of the building, because she technically still
no.
has a movement action to use.
No, Irene wants to smack the shadow thing because she wants to get her people out.
Oh, the shadow thing is no longer there.
Fucking hell.
Shadow thing
Straight
isn't an
through
idiot.
the door, there is no shadow thing. There is only a burning building.
Chris, is there a way for me to use my arms if they're still around, if they're not dead?
Oh, they're definitely dead at this point.
Ah, okay.
They literally burn away and disapparate as the flames completely consume them.
You know what?
Madeline is going to make sure that Asher understands that this is the time to move now, fast, a lot. And she's going to pick up Eirene, help her, and get all three of them as fast as possible out of this place.
Chris.
Irene's already well past you. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then she's going to take Asher and make sure that he gets out.
before they actually run, because the damage I got was from the ward. I could, right? I take it.
And from the fire.
Oh wait, no, the door is destroyed, so you don't have to run through the ward anymore.
no,
Right.
door's
Sorry.
not- the
Yes.
shatters.
No.
That as you collided with the door before, to break the door, you have to touch it. So.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, good. Then Irene will run up and create room so that, Madeline and Asher will be able to run straight through instead of,
Yep, all of both Asher and what form is Madeleine in right now?
She is. I said that also.
Yeah.
Before.
He formed back, so he's normal form.
Yeah, I was just double checking because I thought it. I just wanted to make sure.
Because else, goodbye.
Yeah, I figured you did that. I just needed to double check.
Yeah.
Yes. You both take 3 aggravated damage from the fire as you run out. Difficulty 9. You may use Fortitude and Armor to soak. You're not really in the fire long enough to be set on fire. But,
Oh wow! I actually saved one.
I soaked
Good.
all of them.
Good.
Fuck.
I'm the only one who really
hell.
screwed.
7d10.
I have 4 of armor. And
Yeah, I don't want to know. I get it. But damn.
both of you must also roll courage for being in the middle of a house fire, which I'm just going to double check, but I think that's difficulty 9 courage check.
Madeline says, "Screw this," and runs away.
I'm out.
Yeah, trapped in the burning building is difficulty 9.
Right, I'm running. Well, not past Madeline, but I'm supposed to escorting her, right? So I'll be right there.
Everybody sees Asher enter Rotrek because, being trapped in a burning building does things to people.
Same goes for Madeline then, I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're both in Rotrek.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, God.
Well, looking at the bright side, Irene, there's going to be a very, very convenient place to get out because there's going to be a Madeline and an Asher-sized hole in the wall now. As they just like the Looney Tunes,
Yeah. I remember
the wall.
remember my rod track where I run straight through a wall?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a wall?
Madeline, Madeline with her great strength in the midst of Rotschrek, as she flees screaming outside of the building, runs straight through the wall of the neighboring house, and then runs screaming out of that building, running through the door into the nearby neighborhood. Asher, for his part, not possessing the great strength of Madeleine, merely runs out screaming into the main road, where there is a very heavy city watch presence.
Can I grab at least Asher, because I know there's no way I can get Madeline. Like,
This
no
is true.
way.
You can attempt to make a contested strength roll check on one of these people.
Pick me, I have strength too.
Yeah, no, like in all honesty, I don't think I can grab Madeline. I just don't think I can do it.
You could try to grab on and then just follow her out. Be
Yeah,
like,
I'll just
"Hey, bye."
we are riding this way.
Yeah,
This is meant to be-
exactly. Grab onto her, just like, okay, go through the wall.
go horsey. No,
Yeah,
God.
so
So no, I will. I
hear,
will.
like, in Madeline's accent, you're just gonna hear like the word fire being screamed.
Bye.
I will. I will attempt to grab Asher and to keep hold of him until he gets out of his rod track, because I think I can at least attempt to.
Yeah. I'm totally weak. You can even
Yeah.
try. I think you can even try and dominate me. See if I can calm down.
Uh-huh. No. We'll see about that. Like,
We roll regain control.
That's up to the ST's thingy. If you have the right to regain control.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what I'm asking.
Oh right. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's no problem.
can I, because I have 4 damage, 4 ag on me.
Oh, yeah, you're pretty
So-
badly scarred.
Yeah, so can I just spend the blood point for potence and just grab Asher with like 4 dots of potence?
No, kill me.
Yes, you can, because he doesn't actually have the dice to stop that. So
I figured. Then I'll do that.
I have dice. Not that many dice. I have dice. I can throw my dice at you.
I'll just cover his mouth and just hold him against the wall of the building that's not on fire until he comes out of it.
It does not all look like rape. Let's go.
Shut up.
Yeah, do it.
I did. I don't need to roll. I spent blood.
All right. Yeah, and I can't contest that either.
No, so like I can roll 2 dice, I think, because I think I have a -2. But there's no need for it if you can't contest 4 potence.
No, not if.
Okay. So yeah, I'm holding Asher.
okay. And you know what? I think with that, in this moment of chaos, as the building behind Eirene burns to the ground, and the city watch rushes to the scene and chases after the screaming monster that is running through and destroying the buildings around it, we shall end the scene there.
Oh boy.
Players for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Oh Jesus.